Hello and welcome to another episode of Luna Live. I have with me my good friend and a very exciting guest, Will George. He is a coach and are you now a pro bodybuilder? You are technically, aren't you?
No, like amateur.
No, amateur bodybuilder.
You know,
but
yeah.
Yeah, so he's obviously been through a massive physical change. But the thing that I find interesting is when I first met Will 4 years ago, he was kind of I know we're old now. Like I had one child then.
How old were you when I met you?
23. I'm 27 now.
That's mad, isn't it? I always think you were younger.
Well, I was 22 when I had Phoenix, and then I moved to the Isle of Wight in November. So when you first met me, I'd literally just turned 23. So
yeah, and you're like 4'2", so
5'1" ish. 5'1" ish. I'll have to pop the picture of us together on here so that people can see the height.
I tried to look earlier. I tried to look for that earlier.
I'll find it. But yeah, so when I first met Will, he literally was cocooned in the gym and home, like at your mum and dad's house, which to be fair, I completely understand why, because your mum and dad's house is awesome. And your mum and dad are pretty awesome too. But yeah, so that's what Will was like when I first met him. And now, like we recently got talking and you were like, yeah, I live in Kent. It's like, what? What happened? What happened to your mindset that changed from like, I literally go from the gym to home, to the gym to home, to like, I now go to bodybuilding shows, meet coaches here, there and everywhere, travel up and down the country. So yeah, without further ado, you can get started with your story.
Right, so I'm Will George. I'm 20. I've literally just turned 25 now. I've been bodybuilding since June 2015, and I was like 10 stone wet through when I started, and then transformed from that into like an open heavyweight bodybuilder in the space of 5 years. Mm-hmm. When I first met you, I was heavy when I first met you. I was probably 18, 19 stone, so I was in like an off-season phase. But I don't know if I was coached at the time. I don't think I was.
No, you weren't. No. Who was your first coach?
A local guy.
Right. No, you didn't. You weren't.
No, I don't think I was. So I was doing it all myself, and like I was a typical. I wasn't fat, but I was holding a lot of water. But like I carry a lot in my face anyway. But that was like next level.
You were big, but like people don't see proper big bulking bodybuilders very often. So I guess like you just looked massive compared to everyone. Yeah. You don't like start nitty-grittying it unless you're into it, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So when I see a big bodybuilder, I can tell straight away and I used to wear just hoodies. That was it. I never used to wear tight tops, not vest tops or anything like that.
Not your tiny shorts. No, the tiny shorts came later on. Yeah.
Literally little girl shorts, which I still wear now, to be fair. But I was in that phase and that mindset of like, look, I want to be, Dorian Yates, Ellie, yeah?
Yes.
Stupid question. So he was just at the mindset of like, I don't care anything else about bodybuilding. I don't care what people like. I don't care about having a normal life, quote unquote. I don't care about doing anything but eat, sleeping and training. And that's what I did from like literally when I started. I remember saying to my partner at the time, who I'm good mates with now, I remember saying to her like, nothing bothers me. Nothing stimulates my mind at all. So I was like, I train. I know it's going to take years and years and years. But I'm prepared to do that. And like I wouldn't even Ellie, I wouldn't even go to a shop, would I? When we started talking,
I had to take you to Sainsbury's. Do you remember? I've run out of these Callo cereals or whatever, and you were like, "Can you come with me to Sainsbury's?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then I think I really embarrassed you because I was like skipping down the aisles, and you were like, "Ellie, I don't even come out. I don't even come out," and you're like skipping down aisles.
I was coached then because my coach actually got me on that cereal, so I was coached then at the time.
That was a couple of years down the line, though. That was like when I first met you. I don't think you were coached. That was like 2 years later, maybe.
Yeah, and you used to come up to the gym, and like I remember looking at the clock, being like, "We've been sat here chatting for like 2-3 hours."
I know.
Like, not even an exaggeration. Because I'd sit there behind the desk and just eat my meals, and then we'd just chat. I think that's why I think you're slightly younger than you are. I so shouldn't say that, should I? But like, fuck's sake, I always make that mistake. But obviously, like I think where you're like 5 foot tall anyway, and you're like, we used to just chat left, right, and centre. I always just saw you as my age, you know.
Yeah, chatty little chihuahua.
I remember thinking you're dead young at the time, because you would have still been like, we're young now, right? But you still would have been young, you know.
Yeah. To be fair, I'd like gone from. So you met me like when I look in the whole kind of scheme of my transformation, like mindset and everything, it goes back years and years and years. But you met me kind of just before it was massively triggered. So like, in fact, I was probably around 13 stone when I first met you.
Yeah.
I must have been, yeah. And then I like kind of shot down after I left my ex. I kind of like shot down and then had a glow up and whatnot. And then...
I remember showing me pictures actually, because obviously from the Isle of Wight, like it's just like, you know, it's like down here, it's like no one bodybuilds, like it's not a thing.
No.
So when you showing me pictures and like, I was like, what, you go to the gym with like other bodybuilders? What's this about?
Yeah, I know. You were like, you know this person that I've been following?
Yeah, kind of straight away. Yeah. You know that person? What? Tell me about them. What do they live? What are they like? What
yeah, I'm from London. What cereal?
That's what it's like on the island, isn't it? Like obviously where I've like travelled that this past couple of years, and like you realise that I'd never ever. When I moved away, I promised myself I'd never categorise anyone. I'd never, because not everyone's the same. I'm not like, people from the Isle of Wight. That's not what I'm about.
No.
But a majority of the people from the island have got a very, very limited mindset when it comes to everything. And if you don't explore when you're younger, you can sort of fall into. And again, not everyone, because there's some incredible people that I know from the island that have come from that stay here. But just in general, I think doing what we do is like, oh my God, they're aiming quite high. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I found that. Like when I lived there, that's part of why I moved off. Like, I mean, it was always kind of a temporary thing anyway, but I found that. And I thought about with my kids growing up, I thought you've got the one college, isn't there? There's only one college on the island and they do like obviously a set lot of stuff. So then that kind of limits your education and your kind of like what you feel you could do, but you are just in that. I went to the island for Christmas and I did a story. I said, I think the nice thing about the Isle of Wight at Christmas is the Isle of Wight is literally Whoville. Have you seen the Grinch? Like everyone knows each other. The Christmas lights are everywhere. They go proper full on. It's safe. They're all they can be a bit weird, but it's safe. Do you know what I mean? Like they can be a little bit socially awkward, but they're harmless.
On the island, as a bodybuilder, like I walk into a gym and a small majority of the people might look at me training and think, oh, you know what? Like you can see he's worked hard. But then the majority of the people would look at me and be like, what the fuck is that? Do you know what I mean?
A mutant has just walked in.
And you do feel like there's a 24-hour gym on the island, there's a couple of them. And every time I train on there, not on a regular basis, but I will train there from time to time. And every time I train in there and I'm doing like a working set, I'm like, okay, you're like, people are going to be looking and thinking, what an idiot. But you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, in London, that was like almost standard. But yeah, I found that like when I moved to the Isle of Wight, it was just, a lot of people had that limiting kind of, and do you know what? I'd never actually put the two together, that maybe that was slightly why you were a little bit like, I'm not coming off. I'm not, because you were really, I used to bring you donuts. Do you remember? Yeah.
What, Krispy Kremes? I was like, where the fuck do they come from? Like, but that's the thing. Like it's the Isle of Wight. It's just like, especially those first few years of my bodybuilding, I wouldn't come off the island.
No.
And it wasn't necessarily because I'm like, oh my God, I don't want it. It was just the fact that my mindset at that time, like, right, if I go off that island, what does that gain me in bodybuilding? If I go out for dinner with my girlfriend, and again, this is a selfish mindset, and with like me and that ex-partner, like good mates now, but it was just like, what me going out for dinner, what does that gain in bodybuilding? I was on such a, and it wasn't that I wasn't aware that I was being selfish, because I knew full well that I was being selfish. I was open about it. But I just didn't. What's that? Do you want to go out to, I don't know, Fort Park? No. What's that going to do for bodybuilding?
Yeah, you lived, breathed, ate, slept, completely got obsessed with bodybuilding,
which I do know. I'm going to go and see a friend in Bournemouth this weekend, and I'm not going over there for a couple of hours. I've booked an Airbnb for 2 days because I need to take my food with me. I'd rather be there for 2 days.
Yeah.
And like be able to eat, sleep, and train. I can't, like, even now, if you said, "Oh, Will, come and see me, let's go to Winter Wonderland," or something, I'll be like, "Ellie, I'll get an Airbnb and come up for a couple of days." I wouldn't come up for a day, you know.
No, but then but at least you've incorporated living into it now. Like, I remember you used to say to me, like, why you wore like big hoodies and covered up. You were like, what's the point in what's the point in going and buying a car if you can't get like a Jaguar or something like that? What was it? What was your you used to say about going on stage as well? You're like, if I can eventually go on and show like the best thing, because that was why you put off going on stage, wasn't it, for a little while, because you were like, I don't want to get.
In my mind, I was just like, I know, could I have got on stage at the time? Yeah, absolutely. But would it, like, I'm 10 stone wet through. I can't train for 6 months and then get on stage like most people can. I have to build a crazy amount of muscle. And I wore like large hoodies, like double, triple XL hoodies, just to cover up, because I was like again, back to the whole Dorian Yates mentality. It's just like, it's like an artist with a painting. Like, they don't want anyone to look at that shit until it's done. So I was just like, I'm covering my hoodies up, and like people are like, "Oh mate, I bet you'd look sick in a vest top." It's just like, funnily enough, I do, but I don't. I don't do this. You probably look at my Instagram now and be like, "Whatever, mate." But at the time,
no one saw you. No one saw you. You were like literally this like undercovered car that was just like sitting there, like, what's underneath that? Like,
and I'd post a picture up every now and again, be like, "Mate, you're huge." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know," but it was never. So again, I'm sure we'll cover this obviously with what you're going towards now, Ellie. But with me, it was never. And again, people probably look at my Instagram and think, "Whatever now, man." But at the time, and now still, it's never like, "Oh, by the way, I'm doing this because I want to walk around and look better than everyone else." I knew what I wanted to do, and I was like, "Could I walk around in a vest top and have everyone look at me and think, 'Oh my god, he looks sick'?" Yeah, I could have done, but that wasn't the stimulation for me. I didn't. That was nothing.
This is where, so like, I'm not a massive like fan of bodybuilders in general. Like you said, I don't try to generalize people, but like, as far as the bodybuilders that I've met, the stigma goes, they tend to be quite egotistical, quite nasty. Like, I mean, they'd have to be a bit egotistical, you know. It's like literally they've got
in the gym.
They're quite like, you know, they think because their physique is necessarily more like bigger or more shredded or whatever, then that puts them above anyone else, like not even just in the physique world, in the world, you know. Alpha male,
and like, you walk into a gym and you'll get some lads, mate, they'll look at me and you can tell they just despise me because I'm like, I'm bigger than them, or I'm like, I don't care. I don't, like, Ellie, like, when I see another guy, I've been lucky enough to meet and be friends with some incredible people in this industry. I've been backstage with absolute mutants. And I'm not like, "Oh, they're bigger than me. Oh God, they're bigger than me. I can't deal with that." I walk up to them like, "Oh my God, like, you look amazing, this, that, and the other."
Yeah.
And people come up, they're like, "Oh mate, I didn't want to approach you because of this, that, and the other." I'm going to give the same time to the person who's 10 stone wet through that might have been training for 2 days, the same person that's training for years and years and years. Like, my time that I give people, like, I don't care what you look like. I don't care how much money you've got. I don't care what you do for a job. I'm treating you the same as anyone else.
And the thing is, a lot of people act like, say that they're like, "Oh, I like treat the waiter just as well as I do like the restaurant owner." But you genuinely are like that. Like, that's why, like, oh, that's why we're friends. But that's why it's like, usually a lot of people, you kind of like recently I met quite a few bodybuilders, and it's all that same kind of like, you know, they just look down at you. They kind of like, you're almost an alien if you're not like them. And you're not worthy if you're not like them, and they become into, and it comes actually from a really, really sad place. I think we've discussed this. It comes from like severe self-hatred. It's like, you know, they have to create this bodily image to distract from something internal that they don't want other people to see. But you're the first person bodybuilder I've ever met that I've been like, "Oh shit, he's actually like decent."
Exactly. That's why people like they have the, like, the posh cars, or like, I do this or I do that to cover up them, that they can't be their true self because they can't stand it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Like, I I don't care what I look like. I don't care what you look like. We're the same human being. If anything, my worst nightmare is for someone in the gym to be like, oh man, I don't want to walk past him, or I don't want to ask him to go on that machine because he's big and he looks pretty scary. So if I make eye contact with someone in the gym, unless I'm like, if I'm in diet like 3 weeks out of competition, man, I don't know what's around me anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But generally, if I do a set and I know there's people about and they might look on edge, I'll go out my way to smile and or like nod at them just socially, just to like, and you can tell they're like, oh, thank God. And it's just like, but the perception of like a normal bodybuilder is the fact that a lot of guys are complete idiots.
Yeah, and it is like, it's kind of, a lot of people pretend that they're not. Like, that's what I was trying to get at, is like, that's why I wouldn't usually have like a bodybuilder on this, or I wouldn't usually kind of like, because a lot of the time, I think it's something, the statistic is something like 80% of bodybuilders actually have an eating disorder. Like, they're actually, a lot of coaches that are bodybuilders are taking people under their wing and basically just indoctrinating this like eating disorder onto them. They kind of like just put, and I'm not saying they do it on purpose. I'm not saying they're going, ha ha ha, I'm gonna get you all. I just mean it as in, they have put their whole identity into looking a certain way, and you'll see it. And I find it, especially with girls, and like, I just kind of want to give them a cuddle, but like, especially with girls, you'll find that they go like, you know, they literally base their happiness on how they look. So they're like, you know, when they're bulking, they're like, you know, I'm really struggling with this, or if they're like, oh, I'm having a bad body image day and it completely ruins the day, or I didn't get my steps in today, and they're like, oh my God, world's over. You know, and they're like,
the worst thing you can do as a bodybuilder or someone who's trying to get in shape is have your emotions completely attached to the way you look or the way you feel in terms of your physique. Because I used to be a mate, I'd jump on the scales and I'd be like, oh, well, like, that's rubbish. I thought I was going to be a little bit heavier than that. Like, the worst thing you can do is attach emotion to your physique. Right now, mate, I'm so emotionally detached. I look at myself and I'm like, this is my physique to me right now is like a car, or it's not me. It's not. I'm not emotionally attached to it now.
Yeah, it's like a sculpture. Like, I know what you mean.
Yeah, totally. Like, I had a week off. I went to Turkey last week, obviously, to get my teeth done. I was just like, I took my cream of rice. I took my whey with me. To stay on track, this, that, and the other. And I couldn't really anyway, but I was like, you know what? In 4 or 5 years, 6 years, I can't be bothered. I was like, I'll probably drop like 6 kilos, but I literally do not care because I'm not emotionally attached to it like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, which is why I think a lot of bodybuilders go so like, what drives them. And I was like this. I used to be like this. I used to say, let your fuel of like people go, oh, how do you stay motivated? And I used to go, well, I hate how I look, and I use that hatred to help me look better. And I thought that was the best way forward. It was like, okay, if I look in the mirror and I can pick bits apart, that's going to help me diet. And it was so far from the truth. Like, all I did was sabotage myself when it came to like having any like, you know, food. If it was like, right, have a cheat meal, I'd just go insane, and then it'd be like, oh shit, it's turned into a weekend, and you just completely sabotage.
Yeah, you can see why people do that as well. Like, and you can see the whole eating disorder thing. You can see why it happens because, again, people get so emotionally attached to their physique. Me at 5% body fat, mate, that is for a day, 2 days, like however long I hold that for, and people don't realize what it's like to hold that. Like, when your body fat is that low, your sex drive is dead. I don't want to talk. I don't even want to, don't make eye contact with me. I don't want a conversation. I want to sleep but I can't sleep. All I want to do is eat my food. Like, it's not a miserable place to be in because as a bodybuilder, you thrive off it. But be that lean, it's not like what people think it is. And you can't do that. So what I'm trying to get at is, I don't then 2 days post-show, once I've gained a load of weight, be like, oh my God, my life's over, I'm ruined, I feel like rubbish because I don't look like that physique. No, that physique is there for a couple of days and then that's it. If I was emotionally attached to that, how dangerous would that be? Yeah,
well, there's women that like actually like end up not having periods for like long times, like because they've got their body fat percentage so low that their hormones don't even produce.
So you've got to remember that obviously in this game, it's not uncommon. That's like not uncommon. I work with a lot of different coaches in the industry who do a lot of females as well, who prep a lot of females. And losing your period in a prep, it's like, unfortunately, it's just part of the game. Stuff like that is just part of the game. The same as a lot of things when you're that depleted. From an outsider, from a health perspective, it's not healthy.
No,
and it's one of those things that you've got to be prepared to sort of feel like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, see, that's what bothers me about a lot of bodybuilders, and I mean, you're like, even now being honest about it, is that they promote it as a healthy lifestyle, and it's like, it's actually really not. Like, if you want to live for as long as possible and you want to live a healthy lifestyle, that's different from doing bodybuilding as a profession. That is completely different.
When I was doing CrossFit, I used to do CrossFit before bodybuilding for a brief period. If you're looking at it from a health perspective, and I know people take the mick at CrossFit when the form's not on point, but push that to the side. From a health perspective and having your diet on point, like it's such a amazing lifestyle to live. Do you know what I mean? You're functional, you're quick. But if you look at bodybuilding as a whole, like, is it healthy? It totally depends on what you're doing in terms of how much you're pushing it, what the goal is at the time. There's obviously, we mentioned before, like in terms of PEDs, are PEDs safe? No. Are there safer ways of doing it? Yes. If you look at our diet from a health perspective, pushing PEDs and all that to the side, is it healthy? Yeah, absolutely. When you're not dieting, do you know what I mean? We have all these supplements, we have everything perfectly, but it's when you're in the back end of a prep or you're really dieted down or really pushing up in weight. As a 300-pound bodybuilder, is it going to be the healthiest thing in the world? No, probably not. At 5%, is it going to be the healthiest thing in the world? No, obviously not. Do you know what I mean? So it depends. But if you're natural to go in the gym and lift weights and train hard and eat a healthy lifestyle, that's incredible. But a lot of people, do you know what I mean? So you have got to take that on the chin when people say to me, it's not healthy. At the end of the day, I'm a fully grown adult. I've made those decisions that I do take PEDs. I've taken PEDs for years. I get my blood work done. Are they safe? No, absolutely not. Do I make it as safe as I possibly can throughout my power? Yeah, of course I do.
Have you ever had any health problems due to PEDs?
No.
I know that. And have you ever gone down like the insulin route? I knew a few people that.
I take insulin now.
Yeah, but it's not like, I mean, as long as it's controlled and stuff, it's not like got a mass effect. Or
insulin is very dangerous. So if you were to take insulin and didn't know what you were doing with insulin, it could be completely life-threatening. But insulin's the only thing that could be life-threatening at the click of the fingers. I take insulin now, in 4 hours' time, if I haven't eaten the right quantities of food, then you could be in hospital.
Yeah. But
it's a very, very dangerous game.
This is the other thing that I like about Will, is that although he takes steroids, I have never known her. Bear in mind, the island's a small place. If you'd lost your shit, I'd have heard about it. I've never heard of you being angry. You used to be quite emotional. I used to have you around my house quite emotional sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've never been like angry and stuff like that. And people always put the two together. Like if you're on steroids, you're going to be really angry. But you've obviously explained it to me. But if you could kind of explain it on here as well.
Yeah. So this is something that I always want to get across. Okay. So people think that when you take PEDs, i.e. performance enhancing drugs, the reason I don't use the word steroids is just because typically people blow their heads off when you use the word steroids. It's almost like I don't know why, you know what I mean? So I just use the word PEDs because it's more professional, you know?
Then you just sound like the little sweets that you get out of the little Pez heads.
So with PEDs, typically, when you mention anything to do with steroids, they're not legal to sell. So they haven't got a crazy amount of studies on them, and it's not a normal thing. So you've only got to go by rumors of so and so knew so and so, and he took PEDs, and he was this, he was that. So when you look at PEDs, what you've got to look at, so first of all, people will say, Will, do you take PEDs? Yeah, I take PEDs, but I'm not saying I agree with them. I don't agree with PEDs. I don't disagree with PEDs.
Right.
My personal view on PEDs is, unless you're a competitive bodybuilder like myself, and this is just my opinion, it's not fact, and unless you're creating an income through modeling or anything like that using PEDs, I don't understand why people use PEDs outside of those. That's just my personal opinion. That's not fact. I know people that take PEDs that have got kids and a family and self-employed and do very well, and they take PEDs and they have done for years. That's fine. I'm not going against it. It doesn't mean that I've got anything against them. I just don't understand that, you know. So what you've got to look at is, when you take PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, is whatever you are, whether you're emotional, whether you're angry, whether you're switched on, it's going to amplify that. So with me, I'm 90% driven, positive, happy, all those emotions, maybe 95%. And that 5% is like, I'm very, very emotional. And that can be down, but that's very, very rare. So what happens when I take PEDs? It amplifies it. So that 80, 90, 95% of the time, I'm literally buzzing off life 24/7. But that 5% of the time, I am emotional, man. I am like, do you know what I mean? But I'm not a violent or angry person. So therefore, when I take PEDs, that's not going to be amplified. So when this person is angry and they've got aggression with them and they're taking PEDs, guess what? He's going to be more angry and more aggressive, and it's going to be more amplified. So it's about, you've got to take responsibility.
Yeah, you said it was kind of like alcohol. Like, people are kind of like loud mouths and this, that, and the other when they're drunk. It's usually because they're actually like that. It's just, it enhances it. So
I hate it when he drinks. Well, he's probably like that anyway, but the drink just brings it out more. Like me, like I don't drink, so it's hard to say. But with PEDs, it amplifies whatever you are. So that is why you get the typical, he's on roids. He's got roid rage. He hasn't got roid rage. He's just an angry person anyway, and he's probably taken PEDs. And what happens when you take PEDs? It amplifies it. So the angry man is even more angry, and then they get labelled like roid rage, and that's typically bodybuilders. So that's why they get the bad name, you know?
Yeah, and I think that again comes down to why they've become a bodybuilder. So where, like we said earlier, a lot of the reason that people become a bodybuilder is because from self-hatred. If you hate yourself, you're going to be fuming at everything. So that's why I think it ends up coming hand in hand, because it's like I'm a bodybuilder to try and distract from something that I hate about myself, and then I'm going to enhance it by taking this stuff, and then and then that's when my personality is going to come out. And
also, I know a lot of people, and people are open with me. People are open with me that they're emotionally attached to their physique and they can't stand their physique, this, that, and the other. I know fully very, very high level athletes that are incredible people, but they hate the way they look. I've stood next to people that dwarf me, and they're like, I feel tiny, and I'm just they're emotionally attached to their physique. There's no right or no wrong. It's nothing bad, but that's what happens. People. So me, I used to BMX before bodybuilding. I've got an addictive personality, so I used to love BMX, but I didn't love BMX because I hated everything about myself, and I just wanted to take my mind off it. And BMX, I loved BMX. I lived for BMX. So when I got in the gym, exactly the same. It wasn't like, I'm not like, I'm skinny and I can't stand being skinny and I hate my life when I'm skinny, so I want to become a bodybuilder and prove everyone wrong, this, that, and the other. No, because was that guy, maybe that first few years of training when I did blow up, I would have worn tight vest tops and everyone look at me. Do you know what I mean? I didn't need that up, and I was just like, I'm going to become a bodybuilder because I want to, and I love it and live for it. You know?
See, and also what's interesting about Will is, so the type, everything, just follow him. I'll put his thing down. Is you tend to be attracted to women that are quite insecure. Is that a fair thing to say? Yeah. Which usually the kind of guys that are attracted to women that are quite insecure tend to be those kind of narcissistic, I need you to try and like help my image a bit. But you're kind of the opposite. You're just like, you've got this little hero complex where you're like, I've got you. Think,
I love pulling people up. And I think with me, I'm very, very switched on and very mature, and I always have been for my age, but maybe certain aspects of me haven't. So with me, like, I very much learned from just relationships and stuff like that, even friendships that like now, if you said to me a relationship, I'd be like, yeah, if it comes along, it comes along. But
yeah,
I'm like, you know me now, mate, like me compared to a year ago in terms of that side of it is like,
well, you never used to be able to be on your own. Like you always had to have like someone.
Yeah, I used to like being in a relationship, man. Like, I don't get me wrong, I like being in a relationship now. I can do either or, but with me now, Elliot, obviously business coach, right? He said to me at the time, he was just like, look, mate, you're going from 0 to 100, and if that person's not coming with you, they're out.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's friends, that's family, whoever. Do you know what I mean? If they're not, and I like to think I've learned, like, obviously everything happens for a reason, right? So I think with that aspect, I've definitely learned like that. I say it's not going to happen, stuff like that's not going to happen again, but I'm cool on my own. Do you know what I mean? I literally live for my own company, you know.
Your mindset has literally 180 though. Like not 180. You've always been like, you know, you've never been toxic, but like some of the stuff that you post, I'm like, is that the same Will? Like you're very self-aware now, I think. Whereas before you did used to kind of like just do your automatics, like, you know, there's and that now
nothing else mattered to me. Nothing else mattered. I remember my partner at the time, again, I'm good mates with her now. She's like, yeah, I'm going out tonight. Are you cool if I go out tonight? I'm like, why are you asking me? I was like, as long as I don't have to pick you up and as long as I can be in bed by a certain time and get my meals in, I don't care. And like that was my mindset, because I was so selfish, man. Like, and again, that selfishness pays off when it comes to bodybuilding. And I'm not like that now as a person, but at the time I was like, nothing, I wasn't bored of it. It was probably a little bit dangerous at the time, to be fair, because I was so like, because I luckily my health's always been in good nick, but at the time I wasn't as mature as I am now, and I wasn't, everything was bodybuilding, even if it hindered my health a little bit, even if it hindered my mental health a little bit. I was just eat, sleep and train. And I didn't like doing stuff on my own. I hated doing stuff on my own. And now I'm the complete opposite.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you've literally, my brain went when you told me that you lived in Kent. Honestly, I was like, what?
And again, I went to see a friend on the mainland and stayed at hers. And then the next night we went up to Kent, and I got into that gym, and I said to her, Sarah, a good mate of mine now, and I said to her, Sarah, I was like, I've got to move up here. And I think 2 weeks time I was moved up there.
That's cool.
On my own, with no one. And
that's insane.
Now I'm flying there next week. I'm traveling there next week. She's like, oh, okay.
I literally, I saw on I just assumed it was on the island, like, because I saw you'd obviously got your own place, and I was like, oh wow, that's insane. Like Will's got his own place, like, because it had always been either at your mum's or like at girlfriend's or whatever. So I was like, oh cool, he's actually like taken the plunge and got his own place, and I just assumed it was on the island. And then it was like, I think you said like you were getting on the ferry or something, and I was like, "Well, why are you getting on the ferry? Like from the mainland?
What are you doing off the Isle of Wight?
What are you doing? Are you okay? Did you bring your passport?" And then then you were like, "Yeah, I moved to Kent." I was like, "No, I need to hear this. Like, this is insane."
Yeah.
But your mindset, some of the stuff you post is just
I like my own company now. Like I literally live for my own company. Like I love like-minded individuals like yourself around me. But like I'm not like I think it's a powerful place to be when you are very happy with your own company, and anything on that is a plus.
Oh, for sure. And that is like a real kind of like it is a real sign of self-development, because that was also similar to mine. Like I always had a boyfriend, I always had or clung to a friend or clung to someone. I could never just be myself. And then when I kind of was living on my own with Phoenix, then it was like, okay, I have no like choice but to be me and work out who I am. And then when you can start to get to know who you are, and then you start to become familiar with yourself, you do like yourself, because otherwise
it's a very peaceful place to be.
For sure. And then like you, my circle is so small, like it's self-preservation, really. Like literally Christmas, I used to love Christmas, despite the fact that it was like, you know, I have quite toxic family members. I've got, you know, here, there and everywhere. And I used to love it despite all of that. And this time it was all I noticed was like, oh, just get me home. Like
It's good. It's a powerful place to be in. But it wasn't through like I didn't hate my own company. I never used to hate my own company, but I didn't know anything. I was like, I became like 17, 18, got into the gym, and then that was it for like 5 years. And I wouldn't go to the shop. All my shopping was online. I woke up, I ate, I slept, I trained, I worked at the gym, and that was it. That's all I cared about. And then when I started doing door work, I was like, okay, I sort of like, there's a lot of women about and that, and I was like, yeah, I like this, you know.
Yes, you did. You did very much like that at the beginning.
But nightmare. We'll skip that part. But what was I going to say? You've distracted me now.
Sorry.
But I didn't, because I remember when I was 18, I went out drinking like twice, and I was like, you know what? And I didn't even get drunk. I don't think I probably count the amount of times I've been drunk on one hand, you know. But I remember being out like maybe 2 weekends in a row, and I looked around me and I was just like, hang on a minute, these people were out last week getting smashed last week. I don't want to be that person to say, oh, that's nothing wrong with it, But I just didn't want to. I didn't want to be that person. Oh, is Will? He's out in town drinking again. Like, and again with drinking,
I think you have a different relationship with alcohol is another kind of sign of self-development. Like, not saying that you ever didn't, but I'm the same. I never really drink anymore because I don't like that mind altering. Like, I like myself enough to just not. Yeah.
Do you know my outlook on drinking? Yeah. Because if you think I've probably been drunk, let's say 7 to 10 times in my life I've been drunk, right? And that was when I was at 17, 18, right? And been doing, because I did door work. I only did door work for a year, but I did it literally every weekend. And I loved it, you know, I loved door work. But this is the thing, and this is just my opinion on drinking. This isn't fact, this is just my opinion, okay? There's two types of people that drink, okay? There's people like me and you that maybe go out for Christmas and enjoying family and are like, oh, cool, I can't wait to go and see Ellie tonight. We're going to have a drink and get merry and have a good time and go dancing. And I'm literally buzzing for it. And then there's the other, which is, I can't stand my life. Just get me alcohol so I can forget about it. And when you do work, you'll see one of two people. You'll see the people that are out on the weekend. They're dead in love with their partner. They're doing well in life. They're enjoying their life. And they're just having a drink. They're drunk because they're happy and they're just enjoying their life innocently. And then you get the other side of it, which are coked out their nut, drunk, can't stand their life. And in my opinion, and it's just an opinion, it's not fact, you get one or the other. Yeah. You're drinking because you can't stand your life, or you're drinking because you're just enjoying it. And why not?
See, this is one of the things that I like cover in my coaching, though, is like sometimes even the people that are doing it because they're enjoying it aren't actually enjoying it. Like it becomes, and it's the same with eating. Like some people, I discovered after I kind of like started to get to know myself, I don't really like pizza. I've been having pizza every single Saturday since I was about 18, like just because it was what you did. And then when I actually thought about it, I was like, I don't really like pizza. Like, I actually don't like it. Like, when I get takeaway, I get Mediterranean because I like the chicken and rice.
Our friendship's just ended.
I know. I like donuts still.
Yeah. I used to get, when I used to live in Kent all the way through my prep, I'd have refeeds and I used to get Domino's and Krispy Kremes delivered. And it used to cost me like £15 for a set of 10 Krispy Kremes, but I did not care.
Didn't care. I'm having it all. Donuts I like, cookies I like, cake I like. It's just that I realized like pizza, I don't really like as much cheese as what they put on it. It's quite greasy, like it makes me feel a bit gross after. And you know, I'm tiny, so I can't actually, when I learned hunger cues and how to like tell when I'm actually full, it was like I'm full off of a couple of slices of pizza because it's so stodgy. But you just do it because it's like it's what's around. And it's the same with alcohol. People just go, I'll just drink. And I did it like for my birthday. I had a friend come and stay with me. We went out for a few drinks. I ended up getting smashed, like, and then I was like, I didn't like really enjoy that. Like, why did I do that? Like, I really didn't, like, I don't really remember getting home. Like, I feel a bit rough and I'm now just craving sugar nonstop for the next like 3 days. And I was like, I don't really enjoy it.
The amount of people, and again, like the amount of people that I work with that used to drink every weekend or they used to touch drugs. And you know, I work with a lot of people, mate. I've generally had people message me saying, look, you saved my life. Like I used to be on like coked up my nut every weekend or drunk every week. And they were like, if it wasn't for you and your coaching, I might not even be here because obviously mental health wise, they couldn't stand their life. They used to drink, used to get coked up every weekend. And I've seen it, mate. That's they can't stand their life, so they get drunk every weekend. And you know what? Fine, everyone, it's up to them, isn't it? But yeah,
well,
madness.
it's the better of it's a lesser of evil. As in, I did a podcast with a woman the other day, and she does a lot of like teenage suicide. She does a lot of preaching that, and she's basically says like preaching like basically how to avoid it. She basically says do anything but that. As in, if you need to drink temporarily, like if you need to go down a route of being into alcoholism, then do that over killing yourself. Like it's that is the like, at least you can come back from that. You can heal from that. Someone will cross your path like you or like me that can help you with that. No one can help you if you're gone. Like,
exactly. It's sad, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and there's quite a high percentage of like suicidal bodybuilders as well, isn't it? And again, I think that's like tied to the fact that, and there's a boxer as well that went down a rough route with that, is that you have this goal, you then reach that goal, you then like, okay, I need a new goal. And then they go, right, because my happiness is tied to a goal. But actually, if you tie your happiness to a goal, you're never actually going to be happy, because you need to like learn to enjoy the journey.
Yeah, this is why I always say, like, look, enjoy the process. Like, enjoy, because if you're not, I've always said about bodybuilding, I live for bodybuilding. I live for it. I'm up till 2 eating my food. I'm doing an hour's cardio. I got deep tissue today, and I'm such a pussy, man. It's agony. And I'm sat there like, look, this hurts, man. Why am I doing this? But I literally live for it. And I've always said with bodybuilding, and a lot of people do fake it, okay? I love bodybuilding, but I could not think of anything worse to do if I didn't like it.
Yeah.
So you've got to fall in love with the process, because I couldn't be like, oh, do you know what? I can't stand eating, I can't stand training, but I won a first place medal. You don't want to be like that, you know?
Which is why I didn't go down that route. It would never, I was in prep when I fell pregnant with Phoenix. So it was like, that was kind of rescued me from it. But I nearly, if I would not have enjoyed it, I didn't actually enjoy it. And I say it now, when I train, I don't go to a gym. I don't really like the gym. I like doing home workouts. I find it like very, like I do it in silent. I don't even listen to music when I do workouts, because I find it as a way to like be connected with myself. And I find the gym a massive distraction for that, which is why I could never have been a bodybuilder, and why I do what I do and you will do what you do. But
do it, mate. Oh, I love training, and I'm like, I can see it. I'm like, no, you don't. you love it for the Instagram. Do you know what I mean? Like, love dieting. No, you don't. You love it for the Instagram. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not putting stories at 2 o'clock in the morning eating chicken and rice, because I'm like, oh, Ellie might see that and she probably thinks I'm really hardcore. Like you can't do it for validation of others. You can't be like, oh, like, I'm cool. Like, look at my physique, so I'm doing well. I'm doing well because I've got that physique, or I'm doing well because I got in shape. No, it's more of a person to sit back and be like, you know what? Like, I tried bodybuilding. It's not for me. Cool. On to the next. Let's do something else.
Which is cool. That's what I mean. Your mindset's really awesome. It's really, really cool now. And it's really cool to hear you like talking about it, compared to, because you've been down some rabbit holes, you know, you've been down some like quite depressive states in some places. I seem to remember when we were like, when I was on the Isle of Wight, you had a couple of little like wobblies. But like, I see your stuff now and I'm like, he's done it. Do you know what I mean? He's broken through that barrier onto that next level.
Mental health wise, like, without going into it, this time last year, mate, I was like, I won't go into it now, but I was done. And I was like, I remember saying to my mum, like, I went through something at the end of the last year that's pretty much killed me off mentally. And I remember saying to mum at the time, I was just like there's a saying, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. I was like, I know there's light at the end of the tunnle, but I can't see it. And I was like, I like right now. And the funny thing is with me, did work slip? No, absolutely not. Did my client base slip? No, absolutely not. Did my training slip? No, absolutely not. But my head was like, I can't process this. And like, everything else was reason, this, that, and the other. And what I went through in December was the best thing that ever happened in my life. Because I look back this year and I'm like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the best things happen from the worst things. Like, I mean, you know what I went through, and it was like, you know, I was then left as a single mum running a business and running a house and this, that, and the other, and it completely melted me. And then, but it led to like where I am now, which is the best place I've ever been. But it's that's kind of like, I guess, the best lesson from both of our transformations is like, just don't give up, like just keep
pushing. Like even when I was going through that, like, it's funny because everyone in terms of life, like you take 6 years of someone's lifespan, whether it's mine, yours, it doesn't matter. You're going to go through patches. And if like with me, like in 6 years of my life, like bodybuilding's never slipped. Like no. I don't let it slip like that. And that's the thing with me. I could be like whatever position I'm in mentally, it doesn't matter. I'm still getting my food.
And financially, like that's another transformation you've made this year. I remember you saying like, "Oh, I'm really fortunate. Like my parents pay my car insurance and stuff like that." honestly. So yeah, I was. I'm not a spoiled kid, but I've always had what I want as long as I've appreciated it. If that makes sense. Well, you had hardworking parents.
Yeah, my parents are like, I hate to use the word luck because I like, like my mindset towards luck, but fucking hell, I don't know how I describe my friends and family, like financially, Ellie, I literally remember going, I don't care if I don't make that much money as long as I do well in bodybuilding. I don't care about money as long as I can afford bodybuilding. In fact, at the time, 2 or 3 years ago, in my head, I was like, if I just like earn sort of below average money, as long as I can bodybuild, like, I was fine with that. And now, and that's why I'm so driven with business, because I put on my story on Instagram the other day, if you've got the whatever it takes mindset with bodybuilding, you can then stem that to business. And when I started working with Elliot, he was just like, yeah, cool, you just transfer that mindset. And it doesn't phase me working until 2 or 3 in the morning. That doesn't phase me. I don't care. Like, was I working Christmas Day? Yeah, I was. I don't care. I sat on my phone, get work done. Like, it's part of it. And financially, and I always think if you're enjoying your life, and again, if I'm enjoying my training, enjoying my food, enjoying my nutrition, that physique's going to come. If I'm enjoying my work, if I'm enjoying the people that I'm working with, if I'm adding value to other people's lives, financially, that's going to come.
It's so funny. This is literally something I like preach all the time. Is like the stuff that you want are byproducts. They're not the things you should be focusing on. Like people sit there and they're like, I want to look like that. I want to look like that. I want to look like that. And then that's what they get. They get attached to that end goal. And then they self-sabotage, or they're not actually happy when they reach it and stuff like that. And it's like, focus on the other stuff. So focus on, like you said, like enjoyment of like like the things that makes you buzz, like and then it's like physique, money, whatever. It's all byproducts. And
coaching, is there a lot of money in coaching? Yeah, of course there is. But is there a lot of money in coaching if you're a shit coach? No. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're a good coach, that will be rewarded. Yeah. Like, I wasn't, when I first started coaching, I wasn't like, oh, let's see if I can get this amount of money in my bank account. I was like, okay, I'm going to do 15 people free of charge, and I'm going to get them in the best of their life. Yeah. And then it's, I can charge for that now. Like, that's my job. And then when I started, I did full-time security at the time, and I was doing online coaching as well. And then I was, it sort of like transferred from there.
You were charging people like £35 a month at first as well, weren't you?
Honestly, £5 a month. When I first started working with Elliot, he was like, mate, how much are you charging? I was like, I recently moved it to like £65 a month. He was like, bro, like, how many clients you got? I was like, that many. He was like, you're going to burn out. He was like, you are going to burn out. That many clients charging that amount of rates. You put your rate up to that. You put your rate up to that. And I was like, and again, from the island, I can't charge that. Yes, you can. And then within 2 minutes, because I was adding so much value to my service. Yeah. Like, you truly believe you are adding that much value, you can charge for it. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I with one of the top level coaches in the game. I like, he doesn't actually charge, funny enough, he doesn't actually charge a ridiculous amount, but it's still like 150, 200 a month. I've always paid that for a coach, but I don't care. Like, I need that coach. I don't care what it costs me £500 a month. That's the other thing that like people don't. The amount of people before even getting my prices go, I can't afford it, and it's like, hang on, how much does this mean to you? Like, and you've not even checked how much it is. Like, how much does this mean to you? Like we've said earlier, you've helped people that were drinking every weekend, stuff like that. When I used to drink every weekend, I used to spend near enough 60 quid a night on drink. Yeah. So that's about 120 quid a weekend.
Like
240.
that's more than what I charge in a month.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
And people, the people that truly understand that will. Do you know what I mean? I've had people be like, "Oh, you don't actually charge that much," and I'm like, "Well, like it depends. It depends how you want to view it, doesn't it? Like some people think that's a lot of money, some people won't. But at the end of the day, I was on £100 a week as a gym apprentice.
Yeah.
And I was spending £150 a month on a coach, and this amount of money on food, and this amount of money on peds.
Yeah.
But I did like, did I sit there and be like, oh, coaching's too expensive? No, I invested my money into a coach. Oh, Will, how do you do so well at online training, this, that, and the other? Well, are you willing to invest in a coach? No. Well, there we go then. Will, can you mentor me with online coaching? I haven't got time. There's my coach. He's that amount a month. I can't afford it.
Yeah.
Well, you probably just don't want to prioritize it.
Yeah, exactly.
When I first started working with Elliot, I was like, okay, that's a lot of money. But is it if I'm earning that amount of money? No.
Well, I mean, I'm not even earning it back yet. Do you know what I mean? I joined in October. So then you hit pre-Christmas. And then it's like, you know, and I've got 2 young kids. So it's like I can't put like as much as I'd like to be able to just sit and do into it. But it's like I'm still paying it out because I'm like, I know that I will make that back like easy.
If you learn that from a young age like I did with coaching, so Will, how could so many clients, how can you understand this? Bro, at 18 years old, let's look at it as percentage. At 18 years old, I was spending 40% of my wage on a coach.
Yeah.
Like that's probably what I was like when my coaching business started doing well. I was earning very good money anyway, but when I got with Elliot and when we started pushing with Elliot, I remember looking at my not my bank, but I had a couple of statements through, and I remember messaging Elliot. Like I remember crying. Like I'm pretty open with numbers. Like my first 5K month when I got my 5K award. Yeah. I looked like, fuck, I've just done 5K in a month. I was like, I remember crying my eyes out. I texted my brother, I texted my mum, not to be like, oh, mum, I just turned over 5K in a month.
Yeah.
It wasn't about that. It was like, oh my God, like, it was almost like I've made it. Do you know what I mean? Like that guy that went to the gym 6 years ago that everyone probably thought, oh, what an idiot. Yeah. Like, I'm earning that amount of money. No, I'm doing what I love every day.
No, you were always had potential. You were always, from the minute that I met you, it was always like, the Will's going to do awesome. Like you were always going to.
I knew it was that self-belief. I knew it worked. I don't know how. I'm 10% in where I want to be. That's going to happen again and again and again. There's stuff that isn't worked out, but I knew that it was going to happen. I remember when I was looking at the guys that were earning serious money, and I was just like, I can do that. I know I can do that. And then I remember when I got my second award, I was like, I'm not about other people. I was like, how long did it take so-and-so to earn that amount of money? He was like, oh, that amount of time. And I was like, I've done it quicker. And I was like, I started just loving it, man, you know? And that's
you are still quite humble though. Like I remember when I came to you, it was like, oh, you know, it's a little bit hard. You see all these people kind of shoot up really quick, and you're not well, it's just because I'm so great. You were like, it's, you know, you're starting from scratch. You're starting, you know, and you were very kind of like motivational, really.
That mindset. Yeah, I always say this. Yeah, the guy that's climbing the ladder of success that starts looking down at people will reach a certain point and he won't be able to climb anymore. So in other words, if you message me and say, hey, well, I've just started online training, I'm like, oh, I don't care. Like, I'm doing well. I don't care about you. Yeah. That's me looking down at you. That's me. And the same with a gym. If someone walks up to me in a gym like, oh, mate, you've got great physique. And I turn around and I'm like, yeah, I know. Cool. I don't want to help you though.
Yeah, that's me. You're fat. I don't care. Like,
I'm going to fall very quickly. Whereas if I can say, hey, mate, I'm 40% up that ladder. Let me help you get from 10% to 12% to 15%, then I'm going to climb further as well. Yeah. The more people you bring up, the more you will go up.
That's
but
cool.
People with insecurity, people might be like, oh, I don't want to tell Ellie because she might do well as well. That mindset still. Whereas I'd say, go on.
That's the same in like posts. Like I always thought initially it was like, right, I shouldn't give too much away in my posts. I shouldn't give too much value in my posts because then people won't come to me because they'll go, well, I can just get it free basically on your Instagram. And it was like, no, that's not how it works. It works like, you know, people come to the coach because they're sold by you. They want to have that coach kind of relationship with you. But But if you're helping them for free, then like you said, you're helping them to get that little bit, and then they might want to help you, you know, your help to come up even higher.
If someone messages me and they're like, hey, Will, like, I want to join the team, but I just can't afford it at the moment. I'm 18 years old. I'm in college, etc. That's cool, man. What's your goal? And they're like, gain insight. If they can't afford it, that's fine. I can just tell them roughly what to do. And is it going to be the same as me coaching them? No, not at all. But I'm not going to not help them. And then chances are, because you've given that free value away and said, hey, mate, if you want to gain, mate, you've got to be in a surplus. You've got to be training this way. What I would do is eat this, this, and this. In a year's time, when they can afford it, you best believe they'll be back out. Hey, mate, I've got the money up.
Yeah.
But what is that? It's in your time into something that you're not seeing right now. People like, oh, if I can't afford it now, then what am I getting out of it? As opposed to actually, if I help him a little bit now and spur him on a little bit, like I can do for free, and it's just going to take a little bit of my time, in a year's time, he might come back to me. Yeah.
And if he doesn't, you've helped someone, and it's not fed your bank account, but it's fed your soul. It's fed your...
Yeah, from a business perspective, if we're looking at strictly from business, so-and-so that came to you for help that can't quite afford it. Oh, do you know what? I can't afford Will at the moment, but he did say about this, this, and this, and he tells his friend, and his friend might be able to afford it. So then he comes to you.
Clever,
If you like, your name is everything. If what I want to do is, I want people to think, Will George. I don't want them to think, Will. I want them to put Will and fitness in the same thing. Whenever they think Will, they think of training.
Yeah.
So if the name comes up, I don't have a clue that Will George is, but all I've seen it down his Instagram is bodybuilding. Yeah. They might not be to lose weight, but their friends who they're out for dinner with might be like, do you know what? I want to get into shape, and I can't find a PT. I know nothing. I know where to start with. I've got so and so. I've got that Will on Facebook. I've never met him, but all I see is his PT stuff.
Yeah.
Straight away.
Yeah, you dominate in the industry in that sense. Yeah.
I want Ellie coaching, Will coaching. That's what I want you to link my name with straight away. I want Will and coaching. I want them to think straight away. If I say to you, Ellie, what's the first thing you think of? What's the first thing you think of when I say Nike to you, the brand Nike?
The tick and sportswear.
Yeah, exactly. Straight away, you've linked that up. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like anything. Like if you can link a word up and then link something up with it, like straight away you think of it, right? So if they can think Will George and then coaching, that just comes as second nature. Like you before, when you have your grooming business, right? If I didn't know you, I don't know Ellie, but all I see is on her t-shirt is about a grooming business. I think she does dog grooming. I haven't got a dog. I've got my dog grooming, but so-and-so might. So I recommend
wait, your mum came to me.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? But I knew that you did it.
Yeah.
So that's you've got to think of. I want people to link me with coaching. So if we're talking strictly business, I want people to link me with coaching.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? What if someone? Why is my Instagram name Coached by Will George Fitness? Okay, so Will George Fitness, and I've always named my brand as Will George Fitness. But Will, why did you change your name from Will George Fitness to Coached by Will George Fitness? Well, if one of my clients tagged me in a post and it says Will George Fitness, that could be anyone. I might tag The Rock in my post. People will look over that. But if you tag a post and you're like, right, Ellie's just shared a post and she's tagged Coached by Will George Fitness, what's the is that she's coached by Will George Fitness? Straight away, coach before they've read it out. Coached by Will George Fitness. He's a coach.
Clever.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I could waffle to you all night. You know I could, but
we have
waffled for about an hour now. So I'll give you your opportunity to put your plugs in. So where can people? I mean, I think people probably got the gist of what you do. Yeah. I mean, I must say, like, your transformations are insane, and this is what I say to people. If it's that you want, like, someone to get you from A to B and look a certain way, and like you've got that a good relationship with food and stuff like that, I have people I can link you with. Like, that's not me. I help people with their relationship with food, with their relationships themselves. But I'm like, if you want some insane transformations, I'll send you to Will. So Will does some like incredible work, and all of them are on your Instagram, aren't they?
Yeah.
I'll put your
Coach
Instagram in it, but yeah, go on. What's your at Coach by Will George Fitness? And then you've also got your clothing.
Yeah, Coach by Will George Fitness clothing, which I probably should be wearing right now.
I know. Well, I would have worn mine, but it's in the post.
It arrived. It got sent yesterday. My mum sent it, and she was just like, "Oh, Will, they wouldn't take the postcode." And I was like, "That's probably my dodgy handwriting."
No, not here yet. It's fine. As soon as I've got it, I'll take a selfie and tag you.
I want 500 pictures.
Exactly. And then, are you on YouTube as well?
Yeah, Will George Fitness.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I'll put all of these
Standard.
in. But yeah, is there anything? Is there anything else? You want anything else?
Shout out to my sponsors, Complete Strength.
There we go. I like how you had that handy.
That wasn't automatic, by the way. I was standing my phone on top of it.
Shut out. Ready and waiting.
Use code WD10 on Complete Strength. But yeah.
Oh, there we go. All right then.
Family popped on that. It wasn't there for no reason.
No. That's fine. But yeah, I will pop all of those in. So if you want to have a crazy, insane physique change in 2020, Will a message. But thank you very much for coming on. I've really
absolute pleasure.
it, but I'm sure I'll voice note you later anyway.
We will do. As it shut each other's mouths for, do you know what I mean? It's only 10:30. You know what I mean?
It's fine, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, but yes, thank you for coming on. You're very welcome.
Bye.
Bye.